right, so I had promised a return to Wacky Adventures, and hopefully you got that yesterday when I went to see Black Panther. And of course, I gave a quick review of it. You can check it out. I think I'm probably going to do maybe one or two vlogs on the Marvel Universe so far, what I think of it, and how I think it's groundbreaking as a comic book fan, lifetime comic book fan who's been reading comic books since he was probably about 12 years old. But we'll do that later. Right now, I am going to move into the political realm once again. Sorry if that's not what you want. You want some fluff piece, but I think it's a rather important issue of our time right now, and everyone is debating gun control. There was a town hall that involved a bunch of high school kids talking with politicians, all the way up to our president, have been weighing in on this issue of gun control. And I want to just talk about, why I think it's such a difficult issue here in the United States. Well, we've had a number of these massive school shootings, and I also did a vlog about toxic masculinity and what I think the problem really is. And I truly believe that, individual responsibility is important. We can't just blame the object. So I am one of those people that says that, just because guns are out there, that does not absolve an individual from doing what they do. And I do believe that we could probably make a world in which people don't need to shoot. People don't feel the necessary to go and shoot up a school because, the situation in their lives don't seem that, that dire. So you can check out that vlog as well. Maybe I'll put a link to that one. That's on sort of the myth of toxic masculinity and how, it really doesn't exist. It's a useless term that offers no solution other than what? Don't be male. So check out that vlog as well. But as far as the gun control debate goes, I really think it's a failure to even attempt gun control in this country. It's doomed to failure because right now we have an amendment in our Constitution which essentially says that you have the right to bear arms. And although there are restrictions, and they certainly put forward restrictions, you can't buy a fully automatic 50 caliber machine gun. You can't, own a cannon or anything that destructive. But you can own normal firearms, semi-automatic weapons, hunting rifles, pistols. I actually have my license to carry. I don't own any firearms actually, but I do own a license to carry because I make movies. And even to use a handgun or any kind of rifle or firearm in a movie in Massachusetts, you need to actually have a firearms license. They will consider the firearm that you're using, even if it's a prop or a fake gun, and we don't use real guns in the movies I have. We do all special effects for the gunshots and so forth. They will consider that to be an actual firearm. In Massachusetts, parts of a gun are considered a firearm. Ammunition is considered a gun. You need a license to carry or federal ID for all of that. So it's actually not very easy in Massachusetts to get a gun. So unfortunately, with this amendment that we have here in our Constitution, it would require 2/3 of our Congress to decide to change that amendment. And right now, the House and Senate are pretty much owned by Republicans. So I think the chances of that happening are zero. We would have to have a large chunk of Democrats on board, which they most likely would be. But we would also have to have a large chunk of Republicans. And I just don't see that happening. In order to change the Constitution is very difficult. It's actually very difficult once something is an amendment to get it removed. So changing the amendment so that hunting rifles or semi-automatic rifles are not legal anymore would be extremely difficult. What I think is going to happen, though, is that we're probably going to see some kind of superficial law come out. In the 90s, they had an assault weapons ban, which banned things like forward grips, pistols with large magazines. They basically made some very superficial restrictions on the type of firearms that you could have, which did nothing to change crime. Like most crimes are not committed by assault rifles, despite the fact that we've had these mass shootings that occurred with assault rifles. Most of them are done with handguns. A vast majority of firearms crimes are done with handguns and handguns alone. And I think the only long rifle that they could find was like a shotgun. It's like a Mossberg shotgun was used in a number of crimes. So basically, if I was a criminal, I would not want to have a big bulky firearm that I need to try to, sneak into a store to rob a convenience store. I'd want to have something I could conceal so that it's a surprise at the last minute, right? Because the sooner that guy sees me a rifle walking into a store, the sooner he's going to call the cops. I think that just makes sense. So there's never any talk about banning handguns necessarily. It's always this, let's go after these assault rifles. So I think that's a kind of an odd thing to do or to look at. what I think is going to happen is we're going to have some kind of assault weapons ban. I think, and I would be very happy to see that. I would like to see bump stocks, and I've even heard that there were cranks. I've never seen this, a crank that you can turn, and the crank pulls the trigger, and you can actually make it so that it fires almost like a fully automatic weapon. So, I fired fully automatic weapons, by the way. You can actually go up to New Hampshire and rent them at gun ranges. You can't take them home, but you can rent them. So I rented and fired fully automatic weapons. They're actually very difficult to use. It takes a lot of training and skill to be able to use an automatic weapon with proficiency. And having just kind of played around with them, I can tell you that I would probably not want to ever use one, even if for some reason I had to shoot back at a target for my life. You got to aim at your target and you put your bullet where it needs to go. So this idea that fully automatic weapons are like a good idea is just absolutely wrong. So, and I don't believe you need a fully automatic weapon to hunt. Semi-automatic, on the other hand, I think, in the hands of the right people, it's just another target shooting or hunting or whatever. All of those things can be useful. But I think we're going to see some kind of superficial assault weapons ban. I think the public's calling for it. So I think we're going to get rid of these bump stocks. I think we're going to get rid of these hand cranks. We might get rid of some superficial things like hand grips once again. And I think it'll be simple out of political necessity. And I don't think it will stop anything. Because we're not really, as I said, going after the real problem. Why don't we just try to see if we can create a world in which people don't want to go up and shoot up their schools? Why don't we try to make the programs for these kids so that they understand that these things are not just wrong, but to give them something else to do with their energy. And I'd like to see that happen before we have to start trying to change our constitution, which I don't think is going to happen because we simply don't have the political will or the political necessities to do it. We're not going to get most of Congress and Senate to decide that we're going to ban guns. So I think we're kind of stuck on this one. I think it's going to be a really difficult one ahead with no real solution from either side. I don't think we're going to ban guns, and I don't think we're going to fix the problem on the other side, which is to really try and have programs that are going to help people long before this happens. With the kid in the recent shooting, apparently he had been investigated for quite some time, and yet all these red flags went up, and no one believed that he was going to be this person, and then he was. So I think it's a tragic lack of understanding of what's going on, and I think we're gonna see some kind of political clout. Oh, I voted for that assault weapons ban, so I'm the good guy. I'm the one who's trying to help kids in schools. So I think we're just gonna have something like that happen, and then that's it. Everyone's going to say, I did my part. I did the good thing. I voted for the gun ban or the assault weapons ban. And everything's just going to go on like usual. Yeah, I'm actually that cynical. So those are my ideas. Hey, thank you for listening. And if you like this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you can see more. And who knows, maybe I will get less political and go on some more wacky adventures. Be love it if someone in the comments said, Matt, we like your political rants. Maybe I'll do more. Or someone could say, we like your wacky adventures. And put some comments down there to tell me whether or not you want to see one or the other. All right, thanks a lot, and see you next time.